Magic Tree House, Book Number 36, Sunlight on the Snow Leopard, by Mary Pope Osborne. Chapter 9, The Festival. Bonfires were burning in the brown pasture. Red flames leapt into the air. More travelers had arrived. Hikers wore backpacks and carried walking sticks. Everyone was watching villagers beat drums and dance around the fires. Many dancers wore bright red and purple clothing. "The festival has begun," said Tenzin. "What is the festival?" said Jack. "The festival of colors," said Tenzin. As they drew closer, Jack saw that the people at the festival all had brightly colored faces. "Look at them," Annie cried. Everyone's face was painted with many colors: rose red, lime green, sky blue, lemon yellow. "Tenzin, Jack, Annie!" Minna, Fully, and Amma were shouting and running toward them. Their faces were painted like everyone else's. Amma showered blue powder over Jack, Annie, and Tenzin. Minna flung red and purple powders. Fully tossed yellow and orange. Soon all their faces and clothes were covered with bright colors. Everyone was laughing. They seemed happy, especially Tenzin. "Your faces are rainbows," he said to Jack and Annie. "Yours too," Annie said. "We're so glad to see you," said Minna. Amma was worried. "Where were you, Tenzin?" Amma asked him. "We went by your house and you weren't there. We couldn't find Jack and Annie either." "I took them on a hike," said Tenzin. "You do not have to worry about me anymore, Amma. I am ready to live my life again." Amma grinned. Her eyes were shining. "That is the best news I have ever heard," she said. "Tenzin, join us," said Fully. She grabbed one of his hands. Minna grabbed the other. They pulled him toward the crowd. "Come, Jack and Annie," Fully called over her shoulder. As Jack and Annie headed into the pasture, Amma walked with them. "What has happened to Tenzin?" she said. "What did you do to help him?" "We didn't do anything," said Jack. "We just followed him up a high hill," said Annie. "He's a great guide," said Jack. "Sometimes it was hard to keep up." "That's all you did?" said Amma. Jack and Annie glanced at each other. Jack shook his head. He didn't want to share their story of the gray ghost. That story belonged to Tenzin. Annie seemed to understand. "Yes, that was pretty much it," she said to Amma. "We just followed him," said Jack. He shrugged, as if the change in Tenzin was a mystery to him too. Amma laughed. "Well, whatever you did, he seems very joyful. Now maybe he will return to his old life." "I'm sure he will," said Jack. In that moment, he felt joyful too. He was grateful that he and Annie had come to the Nepalese village. "Have your parents arrived for the festival yet?" asked Amma. "Do you see them?" Jack and Annie pretended to look for their mom and dad in the field full of dancers and people with painted faces. Jack wished his parents were at the Festival of Colors. He imagined they'd be laughing and enjoying every minute. His parents loved holidays and celebrations: Christmas, Easter, the 4th of July, Thanksgiving. Annie seemed to feel the same thing. She turned to Amma. "Actually, they said we should meet them at noon by the stream. We were planning to all hike together today. They don't know about the festival." Amma laughed. "When you find them, they will be surprised to see your painted faces. I hope you will bring them here. But if not, have a wonderful hike. The sun should come out soon." "Thanks for taking care of us," said Jack. Everyone say goodbye to Jack and Danny, Amma called to the girls and Tenzin. They have to go meet their parents. Oh no, said Foley. She and Minna ran over to Jack and Danny and hugged them. Tenzin gave them a wide grin. Then he put his hands together and bowed his head. Jack and Danny bowed to him too. Then they bowed to Amma and her daughters. Thank you for everything, Jack said. We miss you already, said Annie. She blew kisses to all of them, and Minna and Foley blew kisses back. Then Annie and Jack took off down the dirt path and left the pasture. They passed by the mountain stream and headed back into the hemlock grove. Jack quickly found the rope ladder and started up. Annie followed, and they climbed into the magic tree house. Chapter 10. The Beauty of Rain. Jack and Annie went to the window and looked down at the festival. There's Amma, Foley, and Minna, said Annie. I see them dancing. And look, Tenzin's dancing with them, said Jack. They both laughed. Wow, said Annie. Tenzin is a great dancer. Hold on, said Jack. He reached into his backpack and pulled out their guidebook. He looked in the index for Festival of Colors. He read, Nepal has more than 50 festivals each year. One of the best known is the Hindu Festival of Holi. It is sometimes called the Festival of Colors because people throw colored powders and water on each other. Holi, said Jack. He kept reading aloud. Holi marks the end of winter and the coming of spring. Everyone celebrates beauty, the love of friends and family, and new beginnings. That's perfect, said Annie. Tenzin has a new beginning. Yes, said Jack. Let's go home now and see Mom and Dad. He grabbed the Pennsylvania book and pointed at the picture of Frog Creek. I wish we could go there. He and Annie waited for the wind to start blowing. They waited for the treehouse to start spinning. But nothing happened. What's wrong? Said Jack. I don't know, said Annie. She pulled out their rhyme and read it again. Oh no, she said. We didn't find out the secret of the snow leopard. We didn't write it down for Morgan. Oh man, I don't believe it, said Jack. Maybe Tenzin can tell us her secret. We have to go back. Is he still dancing? Said Annie. They looked out the window. Yes, he is, said Jack. Let's go back down. We have to ask him. Wait, said Annie. Look up there, Jack. See her on that cliff? See who? Jack asked. The gray ghost, Annie whispered. Jack looked up at the cliff and gasped. The snow leopard was sitting alone, watching the festival of Holi from higher ground. Again, she was hiding in plain sight. I see her, Jack said softly. In that moment, the leopard did seem to be the guardian of the mountains, the guardian of stone and fire and winter and spring, the guardian of Tenzin, Minna, Foley, Amma, and the whole village, and travelers too, like Annie and himself. The sun broke through the clouds. For a moment, dazzling light shone on the snow leopard. The leopard's radiance lit a spark in Jack. And in that moment, he understood her secret. I've got it, he whispered. Her secret. Quick, write it down, said Annie. Jack pulled out his notebook. He scribbled down some words. I don't see her anymore, said Annie. Do you? Jack looked up again. The snow leopard had vanished. No, he said, but I think I got her secret. It came to me while I was looking at her. Want to hear it? Yes, but first let's see if the treehouse takes us home now, said Annie. Jack picked up the Pennsylvania book again. He pointed at the picture of a Frog Creek. I wish we could go there, he said. Home! Jack held his breath. Then the wind started to blow. Yes, said Jack. You did get it, said Annie. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Rain was still falling in the Frog Creek woods. Jack and Annie were wearing their yellow raincoats and rubber boots again. Their red backpacks had disappeared. Your face is clean, said Annie. Yours too, said Jack. No more rainbow. So, what did you write down for Morgan? Asked Annie. Jack reached into the pocket of his raincoat. His notebook was there. He pulled it out and looked at what he'd written. It sounds really simple now, Jack said, frowning. Read it to me, said Annie. Jack read aloud. Love hides in plain sight. We are never all alone. Whoa, said Annie. It might sound simple, but it's deep. It is? Said Jack. Yes, Tenzin proved it, said Annie. How? Said Jack. After he lost his family, he felt all alone and just stayed in his house, said Annie. But Morgan's note made him climb the mountain again. He found his old friend, the snow leopard, the guardian of the mountains. And she reminded him that she was always there, that love is all around us, protecting us, even when we can't see it. Jack nodded thoughtfully. Okay, he said. And remember him dancing at the festival, so happy to be surrounded by people who love him, said Annie. Well, their love was always there too, even when he was staying alone in his house. He just forgot it for a while. Right, said Jack. That is deep. He tore the page out of his notebook and left it on the floor for Morgan. Let's go home to Mom and Dad now, said Annie, and she started down the rope ladder. Jack followed. As he and Annie walked through the woods, their boots squished over the soggy ground. The rain is so beautiful, said Annie. Yes, said Jack. To his surprise, it really was. The wet winchichis were beautiful too, every bare gray branch, every dead brown leaf. The rain would help bring life back soon and make everything green again. Jack and Annie came out of the Frog Creek woods and started down the sidewalk toward their house. I wish we could tell Mom and Dad about our trip, said Annie. Right, picture that, said Jack. Hi, Mom and Dad. Annie and I took a walk and went all the way to Nepal. We made friends with Minna, Fully, Amma, Tenzin, and a snow leopard called the Grey Ghost, said Annie. She's the guardian of the mountains. We slept in a tea house in sleeping bags, said Jack, and we ate lentil stew that tasted just like yours, Mom. Annie laughed. And we went to a spring festival where people tossed colored powders on each other, she said. And us. Mom and Dad, you would have loved that festival, said Jack. And hiking with us, too. Yeah, and you would have loved our friends, especially the snow leopard, said Annie. We wished you were with us. We did. We really did, said Jack. Without another word, the two of them took off, running down the sidewalk. They ran through the beautiful rain, heading for home.